Yourself and Tim both mentioned that you could almost spin out your core banking software as its own company and it'll be a unicorn in its own right. And most organizations, they spend a fortune on their, they get their T24 or their FIS and they plug that in and it costs them a fortune. You've built something in-house and you could sell it to other people and make what is usually a cost a profit. What's the thought? What else is the thought process within that?
Why do projects fail?
Yeah.
Probably the simple answer, but it's all about the culture, first of all, because if you read again all the books on implementation of anything like IT or information cybersecurity, what should stand first is the culture. The freedom has its own culture that is built up on the basis of the trust. Well, in our opinion, trust what means? That we should work together and we should run together because we should run faster than our competitors. And the trust is about many things, including the autonomy, for example. We should build the teams that is enough autonomous to build their own solutions without necessity to approve each step with some management above them. That looks strange. And the trust also is about the clear goals and the fair play. You shouldn't play any with, I don't know, or how it's correctly say in English, but with some thoughts behind. So you should play openly, fair, and goals we are setting, these are the really goals, are not some other goals that you're behind. And that's what we do basically every day. And of course, you should always promise and make this promise work for all the people. And that's what we are doing every day. And basically, you was also asking about the challenges. But the challenge, probably, the freedom, as I said, is 20 lines of business and more legal entities. And of course, when you have one bank and it becoming big, it's already a challenge to make all this work. For example, when you have 2,000 or 3,000 people. But when they start to communicate with other companies, for example, when we're building up this super app, of course, there is a new process is appearing that was never before. And of course, we should build some of the relations again. Of course, people was in standalone applications, and now they have to be under some rules that is built by, for example, bank team and the holding. Because now when any standalone application is going to the super app, they do have audit from the holding side. And there's, many points that they should be in compliance with. And that's, of course, changes this process, and you should have to adapt to that. And that's probably the challenge, because you're running faster, you have to adapt each and every time to changing environment, to the changing processes. And of course, you see that when people start arguing between each other, despite they're part of one holding, that's, of course, makes sense, and you're starting to trying to fix that. And as I said, my role is this building bridges between people.
On that note, I do want to touch on yourself as CTO, because I see CTO, you got to build stuff, but there's also the option to buy. So where do you kind of see the balance between build versus buy when you're dealing with a company which has got their fingers in freedom? You've got your companies in so many different pies.
Logic is pretty simple. Everything that is connected with the core of our business should be developed in-house, simply because it's core of our technology foundation. And that's why we cannot rely on somebody else, because eventually from this foundation, we are rising up, developing these products that bring value to our clients. And that's why you should control that. Of course, we are not developing yet databases. We probably are not that scale. But if you look on the old technology companies, even the AWS, Google, of course, they do replace all the core systems with their own. Even if you look, for example, on the layer of the infrastructure, Google, Amazon, they do have their own racks, own service, own network. And if you look at the layer up, for example, virtualization, it's the same stuff. The Google developed it a long time ago and using for themselves, and then provided it to market. So I think it's always the same path for all the technology companies because they're starting placing the core components, not to have this vendor lock, how it's called in industry. But of course, if we are talking about, for example, I don't know, Microsoft 365 or Google for business, of course, we are not earning money on the emails, on the corporate services like Teams or something. That's why we will never look in that area probably, because we are not that good in the developing such services. And of course, Microsoft is quite big, and that's not what what we call it. There is services that affects directly on the revenue, and that directs not and affects not directly. And for example, the Microsoft 365 is not affects the revenue. That's why the core systems we're replacing, non-core we're relying on other vendors.
Fast forward only 5 years. What role do you see freedom to play in the future of global financial services? And in particular, is there strong growth potential for freedom in the US market?
I believe that, it's cost of origination of mortgage loan in the US now like more than $10,500 per one mortgage. In Kazakhstan, we spend $200. The mortgage, of course, is also much smaller, but for anyway, the expense for origination is huge, and that's just a mortgage. So we have so many products. Buy now, pay later. We have payments. We have a different scope, and if you will take a look into Freedom, you will see that we actually have many dozens of potential unicorns as different subsidiaries, as different products who do development of, core banking system, card processing systems for our own needs, but potentially we also can go to markets and to provide the solutions. At least we will providing this solution for our growth, because when we're coming to new market, we may launch a card business very fast based on our own card processing software, and it's the most advanced in the region now. We not rely on vendor who is, for example, have a different focus now. So we may definitely manage this product as we wish and spend as much resources as we need. If we will really believe, and I really believe that for any bank, technology is crucial. And in my opinion, if you actually insource everything except technology, you are not a bank. It's a very, very strange approach, because a bank is just technology. All the rest is supported for technology. I may outsource accounting, I may outsource credit decision making, but technology I should keep for myself, because any digital bank is only technology. And the talents who is developing technology, who is developing scoring system, who is developing, AI advisors, who is developing digital products. But in the end of the day, all the product line, we demanding so many competence, but all this competence is about technology. And that's the only stuff which we can't outsource. And frankly speaking, if you're answering the direct question about our vision, I definitely want to build not just one of the most advanced and competitive ecosystem in my country. I want to build that in a region. That's why we're going to Kyrgyzstan, to Georgia, to Tajikistan. We're also going to Turkey, and that's also part of our Turkish-speaking countries landscape. But I believe that our survival will also depend on how many countries we will finally be able to serve, because the competition will very soon become regional and global, and we still want to participate in them. And I want to be able to compete as long as I can to survive in this fast transforming global industry.